My incredible boxing trainer, Rob Sally, is like textbook boxing coach. Like, he was just incredible. Italian dude, like just very on the nose. And we really bonded over those years. He really treated me like a fighter, like his fighter and not an actor. And I think that really helped in the mindset that I needed to be in and grow into. And it was insane to see my body transform how it did, because I wasn't ever used to that. I wasn't used to having to gain weight or gain muscle. And
did you have to change your diet?
I did. It was disgusting. Very like bland protein induced.
She was no fun at Crafty, y'all.
I have to tell you, first of all, when I first saw this film, I was all by myself in a screening room, nobody else. I knew very little about it. And it's such a great experience for me when I just get lost in the performances, when it just seems almost like it's a documentary. You just lose track of the actor, and the actor just totally melds into the character. And you both did an incredible job with that.
Thank you.
First of all, I wanted to...
Thank you so
Ryan,
much.
I told you. That's one of the best compliments ever. Thank you so much.
Yes.
So I guess we'll start at the beginning. I wanted to ask both of you, first of all, I'll start with Brian. How did you get connected with this project, first of all?
Oof, years and years ago. I remember the first meeting I had with one of our producers, Alicia Holmes, which was back in 2018. And it was just kind of a general, like, I don't even think anyone besides Barry was, connected to it at that time. And I didn't think she'd think of me again, but a year later, the auditions came, and I just went into it with a tape, not thinking much of it, because again, I thought this would be a very competitive role to get, which it was. And also, I didn't think that they would actually go for someone who's never actually boxed before. And that was me. So I guess because I didn't see it actually happening for me, it helped me kind of go into the audition not overthinking as much as I usually would, and just kind of going for it and hoping for the best. And so that's what happened. And that was back in 2019 when it all started.
And Brian, what about you?
I bribed everybody I could. As soon as I found out Ryan, I was like, come on. It was interesting. I was filming the final season of in Atlanta. It was, 2021 at this point. So like the world was fresh and new and locked down. And then the script came around, and I had never done a biopic before. Like, that is something that I was terrified, because, if you do a biopic and the person is living and breathing and you are terrible, they will ride on you in the street. So I don't know if I want that. But I love this story. Like, I absolutely loved this story. I loved the relationship between Clarissa and Jason. It just seemed like a story that I really wanted to put forth. And I also really enjoyed that it was another side of Flint that we got to see. This wasn't, one of those tales of like, casting a cloud over Flint. It was like, overcoming adversity and real people who lived there, and the joy that came out of this champion that is Clarissa. So I had a call with Rachel. She very convincingly was like, hey, come and do this. I had already been a fan of Ryan. She don't believe that.
I really don't.
But I love this. I love her. So I was like, oh, I definitely want to go and see her flex her chops. I worked with Barry before, so I, had that connection. And I really wanted to tell their story. I just felt like it was a story that I was upset that I didn't know. I was like, how did I miss this? How did I not know about this 2-time gold medalist, this black woman who was 16 years old from Flint? Like, how did that? So I just felt like, for me, it felt like I had to do service. Like, I was like, I have to make sure that I'm a part of this and the storytelling of putting her story out there.
So when you're first getting the script, was there a specific connection that you spoke to Clarissa that spoke to you, just the real core connection of what appealed to you and what you could really relate to?
Man, I mean, I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan. So there was a...
Knew it. I was like...
yeah. So there was a connection there, obviously. And I mean, I think with a lot of the stories that we see, we don't really get to have a story like this come across our, I don't know, emails, you know, when it comes to opportunity. So her being this Black woman in Michigan, or this Black girl in Michigan, pursuing her dreams at such a young age that felt very out of the ordinary and not really normal, was something that I definitely could relate to, because coming from a place like Flint or like Detroit, you know, you focus a lot on making your way out, you know, making your way out of whatever situation that you're in. So I felt like on a lot of levels, I could relate to that, and I could relate to her kind of doing the impossible at that age. And obviously I didn't make incredible history like Clarissa did, but you know, I could relate to chasing my dreams at that age, and having a lot of odds stacked against you a lot of the times, and feeling like no matter what you do, it feels like it's never enough. And so a lot of the things that I felt like when I was reading the script, I could connect to on a very human level. And it was just very, very layered for me. So that alone definitely was something that I could connect to, because it definitely wasn't the boxing part. So it was just who she was at the core, and everything that she, you know, had to face, with just being a younger woman in a world or in a field that you don't normally see her in or see her thrive in. So yeah, I could connect to those things a lot.
What about you, Brian?
Well, there's a few things, because like we all know the tropes of sports movies. Like it's, you know, like I was like, oh, we've seen this. We got our Rockies, we got our $1 Million Babies. Thank God for Creed, you know what I mean? But I had never seen it positioned this way, you know, with a Black female champion who is still undefeated to this day. Like that's like we have to keep changing the end cards of this movie, because Clarissa just keeps going out there and killing it. And that just brings a charge to me about having that visibility on a story like this. Like, and also the challenges it presents for young actresses like Ryan. Like she should have an opportunity to get up there and spar and show this kind of the dynamics of what it is to be a Black female in this very competitive, male-driven world. And so I was like, I want to be in the middle of that. I want to be there. And also the relationship between coach and athlete is something that I truly am fascinated by. Like it's so nuanced in its own way. It's so familial. Like, and we just finished the Olympics, right? So especially Olympic coaches and their athletes, Olympic coaches and their Black athletes especially. And so there was something that I felt was really underneath the dermis that I wanted to see and understand. Because most times I'm like, why would anyone put themselves through this? Like, it's so crazy. Like, there's this Netflix series called Sprint. I don't know if you guys watch it, but it's about the Olympics, and you've got Sha'Carri and Noah, and it's like, I'm glued to it. Simone Biles just had her, and there's something about the longevity and the perseverance of Black athletes, period. Their stories aren't ever told. Their stories aren't ever really showcased. They're never really heralded the way that they should be, which you see in this film. I'm like, she should have had a Wheaties box. She should have had these endorsements. She should have had all these things. And so when I saw that we were going to do a film that was highlighting that, and that wasn't going to shirk away from it or put saccharine on it to be like, oh, you know, that was truly appealing to me, because the justice, it really comes in telling the truth and shining the light and exposing it as far as you can. And I feel like the connection between Jason and Clarissa was something that we also needed to see, that you had this Black man who is from Flint, who was like, girls don't box, but you are one of the best boxers I've ever seen. And even though I didn't make it there, we can get you there. That familial bond that happened between them, I wanted to see. And so it was a no-brainer for me to just go, hey, how can we spread this far and wide? It needs to be seen.
You brought up 2 points, because I think one of the most extraordinary things about this film is that I think audiences might go in thinking it's a traditional sports movie, and with all the tropes and everything, and then midway through, we reach that moment that all sports movies do with the victory, and then the movie just changes. And then you really get into the core of the story, which I think really makes this film unique. The other thing which you brought up, which I wanted to touch on, and which I spoke with Mary Jenkins about this film a couple of weeks ago, and you brought up the question of race and the issue of race, which really is a big part of this, but never really is addressed specifically in this film. And Barry said, Clarissa has too much work to do to worry about that aspect of it. But I thus thought that it was just, it's so much there, but it's not there. And wanted you both to address the fact of how race plays into this story.
Well, I'll go. I think that as a people, there's already an automatic response when you hear Flint, Michigan, especially as a Black person in this country. The minute you hear Flint, you're already like, what now? Like what now? Like what? It's such a source of like. Even when I read it, I was like, what is this about to be? Like, am I about, like, where are we going with this? You know what I mean? Especially, it can be terrifying in certain hands, right? Because you're like, well, what story do you want to tell about Flint? How are we going to tell the truth, right? But then you realize that below that, there are still, it is about humanity. Right. There are still people who are there who are never going to leave, who like, you went and did a screening in Flint and it was packed, and there's pride, and people never really talk about the pride of Flint first. They never talk about it. Then you add on top of that there is a true life story of a 2-time gold medalist that is from Flint, that is a Black female who, like, yes, she didn't come from, the middle class. She didn't come from, rich trainers. She didn't do all that. I think that the minute that you walk in the theater and you don't have to address race because it's there, right? Like, I think we as Black people are tired of having to be like, yes, I'm Black. I think you know that. Like, I came to an epiphany. I'm long-winded, so forgive me. I came to an epiphany for me that before I open my mouth and show up on screen, there are so many things that are already taken from me, denied me. People have already put their things on me. If I'm wearing a cap, if it's to the side, if I'm, in a hoodie, so there's so many different things that I don't have to address because my presence already is like, my name card. But what I love about this film and this opportunity is that A, it's true. B, you get to, and I'm using the term get to because we get to actually go along for a story that is just what it is. It is who they are. These are real people. This is something that's really happening in real time. Like right now, Clarissa's probably beating somebody's ass right now. Like right now, like but that is what I love about it, because like we never think about the heartbeats. We never think about the pulse. We never think about the connection between two. Like people always are like, well, that's a Black movie. Or it's a Black story. No, it's an American story, first of all. It's an American story. They are from Flint, Michigan. She is a champion. She is a GWOT. Is that what she calls herself? The GWOT, greatest woman of all time? Yeah, she has a chain that does it. I was like, I love you. But it's real. It is an American story. It is truly like, and I think that that's how we address it, by existing, by telling the story. Like We don't have to wave this flag of being like, it's not just a black story. It's an American story because we are the fabric of America, and she is the fabric of America. And what she did by winning for America in the Olympics, it can't get more American than that. Like, I was laughing. We were joking because I was like, isn't it funny, like how this Olympics, it's the most time we as a people yell USA, like just like, USA. But it's true. Like it's such a part of the fabric of who we are, like to watch champions be made, to see it happen. So that's what I like about how the movie did this. It's like, it happens in space and time. It is a true story. It is an American story.
Yeah, exactly. No, yes, clap for that.
So long-winded, man.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with Brian, and I think that that's probably one of my favorite parts of being a part of this film too. Is it really is what it is, and it leaves a lot of space for you to see how human she actually is, with a lot of other layers and things going on in the story itself. And it really doesn't have to be said, and I really, really shouts out to Barry, because I think it's very, I guess, really important, I think, to make more stories like that, where it does feel like you don't have to like hit it right on the head with with these things that are just very, very obvious, and it's better if it's, I guess, less said when it comes to the race of it all, because it's you can clearly see that she's a black woman, and that in itself is, enough, I think. So
should be enough.
Yeah.
Obviously there's the documentary on Clarissa, which was sort of the genesis of that, but you talked about being intimidated by playing real people. Did you guys meet them before you embarked on this project?
Yes. I mean, me and Brian have had different timelines of this project as well. So, so I actually got to meet Jason before I met Clarissa. And that was just timing, a lot of things. Like, she was training for a fight at the time, and I was here in LA training myself, well, not training myself, but training with the trainer. And then the pandemic happened. I tried to go to like a fight of hers, and then it got canceled. Like, there was just always things that would happen. But yeah, I met Jason first, and then I didn't meet Clarissa until after she saw the film. And yeah, and I was so happy it happened that way, because it was really, really beautiful. And, thank God she liked the film, because that would have been really awkward. That would have been really, really awkward if she didn't.
And she's a fighter.
I was so nervous the whole day that I knew that she was going to see it. I was literally like pacing back and forth in my house. But yeah, she cried, and she absolutely like loved every second of it, and she loved my boxing. Yeah. And I was so happy, because God, if she didn't, that would have been really bad. So yeah, our timeline is kind of just all over the place, especially, with the pandemic happening, shutting everything down, and us having to come back when we did. So yeah, I got to meet the both of them, but just on different timelines, and they're both very incredible people. And I wish more people got to meet Clarissa in person, because I think that they see her boxer persona, and it just gets very blurry with the person that she actually is. And she's a very sweet and kind person, and I wish more people got to realize that, and everyone, whenever they do meet her, are very, very inspired and left, I guess, a little differently, after you meet her. You really do change a little bit. She's someone who speaks life into herself, speaks life onto you, and I think it's just very special, and I'm just in awe of her, and I have been since day one. So yes.
And I took a different approach, because I didn't want to meet Jason right away. It's like I wasn't. I didn't want to become one of those actors that was like following him around with a pad and doing like, I was like, Jason will knock me out. So I wanted to give it space, and we were still like pandemic time, so it was. But I would talk to him on the phone, and one of the most amazing parts of talking to him on the phone is his relationship with his wife. Like oh man, even to this day. So like we went to TIFF, we took the film to TIFF, and that was my first time meeting Jason, because I was like, I really hope he gets to see it. I really hope he's there. I also wasn't sure when the last time him and Clarissa were in the same room, because I was like, that scene in the house, and you don't really come back from that. So I wasn't sure if they had spoken. And so like I saw Jason, I saw his wife, I saw his daughter. And he's just a very like mild-mannered man, like he's just, which is so crazy because when he coaches, it's like a whole different beast. And I was like, oh, right, there are like so many different sides to Jason that I have to access. And so when I met him, you could see the gratitude, you could see the care, you could see the love. He is still coaching to this day in that gym to this day. And they just don't make them like that. I was like, as a father, as a mentor, as a black man, as a coach, like this guy is the real deal. And I just was like, oh, it's about his heart. I want to make sure that I just access that. Clarissa, however, is the bomb. Like I was like, oh, we went to high school together.
No,
like
really?
I was like, oh shit, like we would have sat at the same table.
That's what it feels
We would have
like.
been, like she just feels like that. She feels like home. You know what I mean? She feels like that girl, but then also like, there is a whole nother side to her, like it's no different than when you see these MMA, the guys go up there and they got all the smack. Like she knows it so well, you guys. Like she knows it so well. And what I love about her is that she knows she's the best. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, she knows she's the best. And it's like, it's so, the charismatic isn't even enough of a word to talk about her, because it could be so easy for both of them to have become jaded and upset and have, all these things. But no, like at the end of the day, the perseverance of both of them is incredible. And there was a moment where we were at TIFF that I saw the two of them talking in such a way that like, it's like no time had passed, like he was giving her shit about something. And she's like, you always do it. Like, why are you, like, it was so familial. It was so familial. And so that's another big part of why I want this movie to be shared, because I hope that people get to see that relationship. I hope their relationship grows in a completely different way. They're inspiring. So, I didn't meet Jason or Clarissa until after, but it was also nice because they were dressed up. Yeah. They were out in the street. It was just so special to see them know that their stories deserve to be made, know their stories are going to be shared far and wide. And the goal is that nobody forgets who she is after this. Like the goal is that nobody forgets at all and to know that it's possible to do again, like we can do it again. So yeah, we spent a lot of time with the documentary too. We got to see
the documentary.
Oh my God,
incredible
scenes that are taken directly from it. Yeah,
yes,
you
definitely should see it.
It's really amazing to watch the two of them. So yeah, like we have a good relationship with the both of them. Yeah, I like I said, I was scared of Jason. I didn't want to like roll, but no, he gave me his seal of approval. So I'm very happy about that.
And Clarissa also, she was very, very open during my time with her, where I could call her, text her, anything that I needed, any questions I needed. And I was very hyper focused more on her relationships with her family, and her mom in particular was really important to me. And I just appreciate her for being so open with me and just telling me how that relationship was, because it was very complex, just like how all relationships are, especially with our families, especially with our moms and dads. So yeah, I got a very clear insight on that in particular with her. So that was really great to have.
So Ryan, talk about the boxing scenes and getting ready and training, and how long did that take, and did you get hurt?
I did get hurt. I did. I got punched in the face for the first time in my life, which, I appreciated it. I think I appreciated it. I'm like, okay, now I know what that feels like. That's nice, I guess. Really just like, woo, knocked me. But yeah, so I had trained 3 months in 2019 going into 2020. Production stopped, and then I started back up again in 2021 into 2022, if I remember that correctly. And I started a little bit before Amazon MGM let me, which is a secret, but
not anymore.
Not anymore. But yeah, my incredible boxing trainer, Rob Sally, is like textbook boxing coach. Like, he was just incredible. Italian dude, like just very on the nose. And we really bonded over those years. And I had so much of his support, and he really treated me like a fighter, like his fighter, and not an actor. And I think that really helped in the mindset that I needed to be in and grow into. And it was insane to see my body transform how it did, because I wasn't ever used to that. I wasn't used to having to gain weight or gain muscle. And
did you have to change your diet?
I did. It was disgusting. Very like bland protein induced.
She was no fun at Crafty, y'all. She was no fun at Crafty.
It was nice though, because I did get to stuff myself, but it was hard. It's hard to stuff yourself if you're not hungry. It was just very, but I got a hold of it, I think, a little bit. And I also had to weight train as well on the second leg that we went into. So I would balance between boxing and weight training, which I was so thankful for, because I think it was really good to have both of those things. And then it was a weird transition going into stunt training. Because I learned all of the fundamentals for boxing, and I learned how to box for real. So then when I had to go into stunt training, it was like I had to erase certain things and do things for the camera and not do things for real anymore. Learning my distance and all of the things, and also having to learn the choreography. And it's only so many ways that you can throw a punch. So all of the choreography was very jumbled in my brain a lot of the times. And I think it was like 8 different sequences I had to learn. And thank God for the stunt team for, just being there for me. But I was doing all of my own stunts, but I did have a stunt double that also learned the choreo. So whenever I was confused, she was right there to catch it for me and let me know where we're at right now in in the film and which fight is this. So yeah, it was such an adventure, and it was really exciting for me and really, really fun to be able to do. And I think I really got into it, and I loved having my stamina up, because we did have to do take after take after take. And I was learning, I was doing these sequences with real boxers. So they also, train all the time, and I was keeping up with them, and I was like, whoa, hold on. I was really, proud of myself in those moments, and they were just really, really fun. And yeah, we did hit each other a few times, but
you hit me too.
When did I hit you?
You hit me when, first
actually,
of all, one second. So I didn't have to train, which is great. I didn't have to do any of that. But as the coach, you have to be very technical, and you have to stay on her, and so there's sparring that she has to do. So I didn't realize how holding a bag and holding gloves is really important, and she would let me know if it was wrong. Like Ryan's like, nope, higher, nope, lower, and I was like, oh shit, okay,
really?
Because when you were in that mode, man, and you were like, and I was like, once those gloves are on, but it's crazy because, there's a whole nother challenge. Like, I had to scream outside of this ring and jump in the ring. And there's a moment in the movie where I hit her against the head, and I was like, are y'all sure I'm supposed to smack her again? I was like, well, that's what he did. He got to smack her against the head. But
that really hurt. I remember that.
Yeah, I know. But Ryan, man, I've never seen anything like it. I really have never seen anything like it, to watch her for sometimes 10 hours to 12 hours, in the middle of the day. And look, big ups to Rachel, our director, because her cinematography on this was unbelievable, of how she captured blow for blow for blow. And these fights, the choreography is taken from these fights. Clarissa's known for a certain kind of jab, a certain kind of hook. And so, I would watch Ryan and try to be as supportive as I can, because that's really what would I be eating a burger while she's doing it? Maybe. Should be fine. But like, it was still amazing to because once she gets in there, you're just invigorated. Like once you see Ryan get in there, you're just like, oh man. Even though you know how the fight's going to turn out, you still like, oh, and like you're like you can't help but go, oh man, like it's amazing. And she really put her thing in. Like I look up to this woman so much. Like she really got in there. I'm so dead ass about it. Like it's brilliant. Like how many people would not be able to, and how many people would have run away from such a challenge like that? Because I knew she was going to get knocked out at one point. I was like, she's going to take a punch at some point. You got to. And you did it. Look, we're here.
I did it.
You did it great.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I would also like to say, because I've never said this before, but I spent so long trying to get a hold of this speed bag. And y'all see it for like 2 seconds.
I remember that day.
movie.
I was like, that's all they kept, man.
Like,
We did it.
I went in on the speed bag. I was really, and they did 2 seconds. I was like, what?
Yeah, we did take after take. I was like, she's gonna hurt me, you guys. Like, like she got forced.
It was a very fun experience for me. So I'm really thankful for it.
Very proud. You should be incredibly proud.
You both should be proud because, like I said, this movie is incredible. I think you're going to get a lot of love during this season, and it's. I just feel so honored to share the stage with you because it's just a special experience. So thank you all for coming and
Christmas Day. Y'all know y'all go to the movies on Christmas. Go Christmas. It's the best thing to do.